All right, before we get started, I am gonna preface this video with a quick disclaimer. I'm a Drake hater. I will be upfront and honest with you. Now, while I will always fully admit that, my opinions on him are my own. I'm just not a fan of what he is. With that being said, I am also a grown man, and I can set my opinions to the side and be open-minded when talking about an album. Okay, got it? For this video, I have fully let myself be immersed by this album. Now, with this video, we will be talking about Iceman as I do research what it is supposed to be as an idea, a project, an experience. Here is the layout we will be following today. We are looking at Iceman as it is, and then I'll give my review to you at the end. Firstly, we have to establish what the album is trying to do. And I think we should be able to get the main idea from his rollout of the album and Twitter posts at the time and stuff like that. So I went digging into all that stuff, and from what I can tell from everything he said, this is supposed to be a post-beef era of what he's doing, how he's handling it, how he is growing as a person, as well as kind of a villain arc of sorts. So we'll have to see how he actually brings these ideas to light within his music. With that being said, here is the formula for today. We are going to go song to song. In each song, we will go over bars that have to do with this main idea. We are not going to go over every bar because that would just be a waste of all of our time. We'll go bar to bar. We'll talk about my opinions on it and on the song itself. Then at the halfway point, we're going to take an intermission break. We will talk about the album thus far, as well as any ideas I have, what I'm looking forward to, what has really disappointed me, stuff like that. Then at the end of the album, we're going to go over it as a whole, give a rating, talk about what it did really good, what it did really bad. With that being said, let's go into our first song, Make Them Cry.
I am Iceman. I am Iceman. I am Iceman. I am Iceman.
With Make Them Cry, he tries to make the argument that everyone is only talking to him about the beef with Kendrick Lamar. He has a line saying that he's all alone on this album for his own mental peace. But I can't help but to believe it's the opposite. Nobody really wants to work with him because of him being a parasite. When you take the beef into this album, you have to take the bad parts with it, such as the allegations. So it doesn't seem like it's for his own peace, but because he's alone, because no one actually wants to work with him, he doesn't have peace. And I say that, but the start of this album's actually pretty decent. Like the first bar where he says the stuff about people asking him about Kendrick. That's a good way to start this album, especially since he's going to be looking at it so heavily in that retrospective kind of way, right? He's going to be talking about the beef so much in this album. It's actually kind of a good start to bring it all out front. But that second half of the bar with him saying his own mental peace stuff, that immediately ruins the good graces it has. He then goes on this tangent about how he's upset about a friend selling a chain for money. Then he goes on about his toxic behavior, such as him thirsting over his therapist, even calling himself a manipulator, something that Kendrick brought to light in their beef, as well as plenty of other toxic behaviors. This song really seems like it's going somewhere, but then he just starts complaining for the rest of the song about things in life going wrong, like his dad having cancers and the radios aren't playing him and he's losing fans and this and that and shit. But he's saying it on the back end of the song. So it begs the question, why should I care? If he's admitting to being like this, being this toxic, it's so close to being a decent song. If he just swapped the order around of what he's saying shit happens and when, imagine he does the, first bit, then he talks about the stuff in his life going bad, like his dad having cancer and this, that, and the third. Then he talks about him being toxic. He would actually have a good reason to be toxic in that regard, but he's addressing it completely backwards, and I don't even think he knows he's doing this wrong. Then after you do that, once he's talking about his toxic traits, you then have the character do some kind of development and then send him off in a new direction by the end of the song, or have him completely heal outright. But the toxic behavior doesn't get addressed at all after this. Instead of recognizing his own inadequacies as a human, he just brushes past compare this to the Kendrick Lamar song Count Me Out. And to those saying I shouldn't compare him to K-Dot, whatever, this, that, and the third, y'all are dumb. Drake brought this on himself knowingly by mentioning Kendrick on legitimately every track on this album. He's opening himself up for these comparisons. With that being said, take Kendrick Lamar's track Count Me Out, where Kendrick starts from the beginning of this album suffering from expectations and holding them up for everyone while struggling to actually talk about it with his therapist. This is the breaking point on the album, where he just lets it all out to his therapist. He then identifies a problem within himself and others of faking who they are for others' attentions and praise. Now, armed with this knowledge, our hero starts his healing journey, and by the end of the song, he's completely forgiven himself and knows the next steps to take in his journey. Now, this is obviously a small look into a track on an album, and it's a concept album, but I believe this comparison is really good for this song here. You notice how Kendrick Lamar's character has a clear arc. He goes through denial, self-hate, indulging in sin, that shit, talking about it. Once he starts actually talking about it, he then starts his healing process, and by the end of the song, he has a new direction to go in. Whereas Drake's character just kind of addresses he's toxic and then complains about his life, and it goes nowhere. It just immediately falls off. That is what I'm talking about. But we'll move on. Maybe he'll mention this toxic arc again later on. Maybe it's an album-wide story like Mr. Morale, so he'll bring it up later. I have faith that he could, though I am a little bit hesitant. Next up is Dust. He spends the first 30 seconds of this track talking. The only real thing he's saying, though, is that he's not selling vinyls or shirts for this album, hoping that the numbers will speak for his art. Keep this specific sentence in mind for the end of the video, because we'll go over Drake's obsession with numbers by the end. It just has to wait for now. He then starts the actual song by alluding to girls from all around the world loving him, and that he got love for all of them, but he has to handle something first, even saying that Some Sexy Songs for You was for the girlies, to show his love for his female fans. The only thing to really talk about here before the chorus comes in is the specific bar, "Girls from Atlanta Call Me Santa," when he's alluding to the girls from all around the world loving him. And this is important because it will really get explained upon later, I think maybe in this track or the next one, his manipulation with buying women's stuff. And this is another example of him doing it. They call him Santa because he buys them gifts. It's a form of manipulation he's doing on them. And I don't even know if Drake knows he's making or opening himself up for these comparisons here, because it doesn't seem like that's intentional, but maybe it was, and I just don't know it yet. Then the chorus comes in, and Drake is talking some "go below the dust off your plaques," and he's talking about Kendrick here. The whole chorus is basically about Kendrick. He's saying he drops more than Kendrick, his songs go harder than Kendrick's are forgettable, and this comes back to the numbers thing, which we will talk about at the end of the video again, so hold your horses. I'll bring it up again, but hold your horses, right? Drake then goes to the second verse, bragging about him having money. He compares himself to Sam Bankman-Fried, a crypto scammer, saying him and his crew are in luxurious hotels. He shouts out close friend Future the Prince with a bar. He then ends the verse with a call out that if it wasn't for Drake, a lot of people in the industry wouldn't be as big as they are right now. Then verse 3 starts with another crypto bar saying he's got a big heart but he's a fucked up guy. Then after some bar about the new year, he says that he heard someone got killed, /attack, and it can't be him because it was sloppy. We're not even going to talk about that bar. Really, you'll see why in a couple songs. It'll really make itself apparent why. We're going to have a whole big discussion about that. But I want to narrow into that bar about some people in the industry not being as big as they are. It's kind of a brainless bar, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've had multiple Drake fans talk to me about this and how, oh yeah, Kendrick, it's talking about Kendrick and A$AP Rocky. I won't dance around that fact. That's the main target of it. You can also make an argument for The Weeknd and the entire OVO roster and some other people not being as big as they are without Drake, which are a bit more fair. But to say that the king of rap wouldn't be as big as he is, without his little fucking gesture here is complete and utter stupidity from Drake fans and Drake himself making this. I could expect this comparison from Drake, but Drake fans like goofing themselves off to follow this line of logic is so stupid. We're talking about the guy who made fucking T-Pab. Wouldn't be as big as he is without Drake. Are we like, yeah, Drake brought him on their first tour. Congratulations. Somebody brought Drake on his first tour. Somebody brought Lil Wayne on their first tour. Somebody brought Eminem, Kanye, Jay-Z, Nas, Biggie, Tupac, anybody on their first fucking tour. That is so stupid. That is like if I fucking did a homework assignment for you in 3rd grade and then like 15 years later when we're graduating college, I'm like, the only reason you're here in life right now and you graduated was because of me. Like, that's just such a dumb comparison, and I can't believe people are actually believing that. Like, and saying, oh yeah, that's it. That's it. Like, are you kidding me here? I'm sorry about that little outburst. We'll get back to the video. I apologize. That's gonna do it for Dust. I mean, it's an alright song as it goes. I would give it like a 3. It's not really doing anything to push the vision. I don't think I gave. This is something I'm like doing impromptu. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I didn't give Make Them Cry a rating. I would give Make Them Cry like a 4. If Make Them Cry got like switched around a little bit, if you reworked it, it could go up to like a 7 in my opinion. That is like not a bad song if he just reworks it to actually give you something to follow instead of him just complaining. It has the potential to go up to like a 7. Anyways, we're moving on to the next track, Whisper My Name. Whisper My Name starts with him asking, am I the GOAT? Probably not. He was, but you probably forgot. Then he makes a reference to UMG and Kendrick at the same time, and he does like a roundabout way of basically saying that Kendrick is the white man's puppet. The next important thing that Drake said in this song is that his honor comes from the stuff he does for other people. Remember the toxic bars in the first song? Sure would be a good time to explain those, huh? But he doesn't here. He instead just like pretends like he never said them, I guess, which, you know, toxic people do. So I could see this still building the story, right? And he even like says even more toxic stuff about buying stuff for people, saying I put the man in manipulator. When I pay your rent, that is an obligation to our attachment. Then I sprinkle in a little Mercedes and fashion. So if he manipulates people, and one of the ways he does it is by buying people's stuff, then why is he using it indirectly as a way to gauge his honor, you know, while still doing nothing about it? It's an interesting point in the album, because like from here he could like use this as like an example, you know, like on the first 3 songs he's talking about how toxic he is. Then after that he starts with the actual vision of him healing after this. The next bars we're going over is him shooting shots at The Weeknd and Playboi Carti. Then after that, there are some bars about his money, and then cue the chorus where he has like a confrontation with people who don't like being seen with him in public, saying, if you are my N-word, then say, hey, what's up, Crody, and come hug me right now. And that everyone is counting him out. Then post-chorus, he shoots a subliminal at Cole, brags about money again, and oddly enough, Drake even acts like a gangster. But in this same verse, he calls out fake gangsters. Remember that bar earlier about him not being the person who killed somebody because his crew isn't that sloppy? That pertains to what we're about to talk about, and I'm gonna call this the Aubrey paradox. See, it's when somebody who is not at all a gangster, not affiliated with gang life, didn't even see the shit, calls himself a gangster. And then, as well, a step above the Aubrey paradox, you call out other people for being fake gangsters. He does this with Playboi Carti here, basically saying like, it's that one like, what are you gonna do when you see the Iceman except freeze bar, right? He's talking to Playboi Carti there. He's saying that like Playboi Carti isn't about the streets. He won't pop Drake, shit like that. You ain't gonna do shit except freeze when we point guns at you, basically is what he's saying. But he's not a gangster. He has never been affiliated with gang culture. There's a reason people like Kanye and Kendrick, who are also not gangsters, can get away with those bars, and Cole also. Can't forget about Cole. Those 3 are affiliated in some way or another. You saw Kanye, before Kanye was even big, you'd see Kanye at the underground sessions in Chicago where there was a bunch of gangbangs. He knew. Kendrick, I don't even have to explain that. He grew up in Compton. He saw that every day. Cole, same thing as Kendrick pretty much. Aubrey Graham grew up in the suburbs of Toronto. He was a goddamn child actor. You're telling me he's allowed to get away with being a gangster? I am from fucking buttfuck Illinois, bro, in the middle of cornfields on all sides of me. Can I say I'm a gangster now? No. Why are we letting him get away with it? This is a good example of something we will talk about at the end of the video, but I'm gonna bring it up now just so it sticks in your mind, of Drake not understanding the culture of hip-hop. Just think about that while we're going through the rest of this video. You might be able to even like see it in when I'm like, describing stuff. You might be able to like, that's not really for the culture. Think about it. Just keep it in the back of your mind, and we will go over and elaborate on it at the end of the video. Moving on, he shoots some shots at Jay-Z as well as The Weeknd on this song as well. Then the chorus comes back, which I don't think I mentioned the first time around, but the chorus is actually really good on this song. It's something I could even beat my shit to low-key. But after that, the chorus ends, the song just kind of ends. And I've basically went over my thoughts in the moment, so like there's not really much for me to say this post song, so I guess we'll just move on to the next song, Janice Shut the Fuck Up. This song starts off with really amazing production. It's one of my favorite beats off the entire album, and like I even like the intro with the resurrection bar, but like the momentum just immediately gets killed by this stupid deep voice Drake is putting on for the chorus. And the rest of the chorus's bars is just about money and women, so it's not really worth going over. He then ends the chorus with saying that his label needs to free him, aka fire him or let him out of his deal. Then the first verse comes in and he's with that resurrection point again, saying buried alive, someone come dig me up. He makes a couple bars talking shit to people who got big off his success. He then talks shit about Jay-Z and the OGs. Then he goes into this conspiracy angle about the whole industry was against him and only because of his success. But it's just kind of dumb here. I'll talk more about the actual conspiracy at the end of the video. I'll explain and go over my thoughts on it, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. But I won't mention when he's talking about the lawsuit for the rest of the track, just simply because it doesn't really add anything to this album. If it does add something, and I recognize that, I will on a song-to-song basis, but it doesn't seem like it's doing anything. He then goes on into a couple bars where he's talking about someone not wanting to drop on the same day as Iceman. But like nobody other than Lucky dropped on that day, and I've no pre-known knowledge of like somebody who was planning on dropping on that day. So like I got to looking into it, and I think I have a theory on why this bar even exists. And there was a rumor that Iceman was supposed to drop on February 20th, the same day as Casino. And my theory is that like Drake was gonna drop on the same day as Baby Keem to try and outsell him as like kind of a shot at Kendrick, right? But like he didn't because like something happened, you know. That's my theory, and it seems like something Drake would absolutely do, but there's no real evidence I have to back this up. It's just based off rumors. And then that just kind of ends the song there. It's, you know, not my favorite song. I'd low-key give it like a 2. Did I even say what I'd give Whisper My Name? Whisper My Name's like a 3.5. For the interest of my viewers and myself's time alike, I will no longer be mentioning when Drake brings up Kendrick, you know, like money and women, like the normal Drake bars. I'm not going to be mentioning if he's talking about the lawsuit or the conspiracy. I'm only going to be talking about new things he brings up pretty much. Unless like, you know, if he's talking about Kendrick on a song and it's like vitally important to the narrative, or the UMG lawsuit is vitally important to the narrative, some situation like that arises, I will adjust for it. With that being said, we're basically out of bars on here. This song is the most popular one off the album, which I can see why. It's not my favorite one just because that deep voice on the chorus. Probably would be if it, you know, had a different chorus for sure. But my favorite track off the album is actually coming up next. It is Run to Atlanta. Now, I know purely based off the name, there's gonna be a lot of sneak disses in here. That is specifically why last song was the cutoff for mentioning Kendrick, anybody else in your, unless it has to do with the narrative, obviously. Something important to bring up now, especially since there's a feature on the song, we will not be going over any features at all, including Molly Santana, Future, and 21 Savage. None of them will be mentioned, actually, except Future. I have a little thing I want to talk about with Future on this, so let's get into Run to Atlanta. Now, like I said, this is by far my favorite off the album, though it's not really much of a I mean, shit, lyrically, this song is nothing but a brag fest, but it's a fun song. It's a fun enough song, and fun songs are important on albums. Like with, you know, Baby Keem's Casino, we just mentioned earlier. It had Dramatic Girl on it. Dramatic Girl serves almost no purpose to the narrative that Baby Keem's trying to push on that album. But it's fun, and that's important for your audience to like have a little breather, especially if you're talking a lot on the album and like trying to explain a lot of stuff on the album like Drake is supposed to be doing with this album. So I understand why this song exists. With that being said, we're looking at Future's verse here. And I'm only mentioning this for a very specific reason. I almost feel bad for Future here. I know he's probably exaggerating on this verse, but if he's really off too many perks to know what day of the week it is, he's basically a vegetable at that point. Like, there's no reason for that. I feel fucking terrible for you if you're in a fucking catatonic state partying, bro. That seems fucking terrible. With that being said, though, because this is such a fun, well, it's not that fun of a song, but because it's supposed to be such a fun song, there isn't actually really any lyrics to talk about from Drake on here that are like important to the narrative or anything. None that I could at least see when I was listening to it. And I gave each of these songs like at least 3 listen tos. So like if I didn't catch it, it wasn't meant to be caught, especially since it's Drake, you know what I mean? So we're moving on to our next song, Shebang.
Manish on the beat, Shebang. All of my ops, they're dead. Why do they gas me up? Where does it go? My head? This nigga sucks!
And this one's also gonna be short. Shebang starts really strong with this chipmunk vocals on the beat, and it's really good beat, low-key, but it suffers a lot from the Aubrey paradox here. He talks about nothing outside of him being a fake gangster. So I don't really have an opinion on this song. Like, it's doing nothing to push this narrative forward. And like, it's kind of a fun song, but like 2 fun songs in a row, it kind of seems like you're padding your time here instead of like actually pushing an idea, you know? So we're not going to talk about this song at all anymore. Actually, we're going to move on to Make Them Pay. And I'm sorry if you feel like I'm skipping this one, but like, if you look in it, it's just Aubrey paradox. That's all it is. So like, there's not anything to talk about here. So I do apologize. I wish there was something. I went looking, but we have to move on to Make Them Pay. Make Them Pay has this really great beat. I know I've been saying that about a lot of the songs, and that's for a specific reason. This album beats slap. All of them are good, and that beat really carries here. It plays really perfectly into the theme of the song, which the main focus being him wanting to be free of his label. Gotta give him credit. It's well crafted, to say the least. Now onto the actual material of it, though. He starts with this conspiracy angle again, and then, you know, we're not talking about that till the end of the video, but after he has this really like telling line of, I need compliments because lately it's just been falling outs and disagreements. And I feel like this is a vulnerable line from Drake, and I can appreciate it. And after this, he hits us with another good sign, saying that he needs to talk more than flippin' dough like Little Caesars or something like that. I can't remember the actual bar right off the top of my head. And that got me hopeful, as maybe he has been playing the long game here. You know, he's used those first few songs to show where he's at, and now he's gonna actually push the narrative, the vision forward of what he's trying to portray. But he falls right back into the pit of like calling people out, and there's 2 things here. First, the I don't even want to be in the big 3 anyway line reads the same way as a child would say, like, I don't want to be in her secret club anyways. Then he makes a baseless claim that Kendrick is botting, and that's not important to the narrative, but like, come on, bro. Kendrick Lamar played at the Super Bowl twice. You think he needs bots? Really? As well, I've seen nothing to back up this allegation. No one's really been doing anything to prove it. He then calls out Clips as well as Pharrell, which isn't important at all to the story. I know I said I'll only bring it up when it was important to the story, but this is the first time he's really called them out ever, like directly. So I figured it was worth mentioning. Drake did some good on this song, but he immediately ripped it away in favor of just slop, calling out other artists. I'm very disappointed in this bait and switch in the middle he hit me with, because I was kind of enjoying it for a bit. He still hasn't addressed the toxic behaviors from the first song, but maybe we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Or should I say burn it? Burning bridges. On this song, he starts with Drake talking about moving to LA with a woman, but he can't because he has to get his homie out of the trenches. But it's like, Google says you're a 250 millionaire. You should be able to get the whole hood out of the hood, you know? It also kind of sounds like, I don't know, he's trying to like get the slaves free here. I wonder if he'd ever use that to diss somebody. Then Drake goes on to objectify women and sneak diss people, all of the normal stuff. Notice how short these like reviews are getting, and it's not because I'm too razy. Am I fucking Chinese now? Oh my, I apologize for that outburst. It's not because I'm too lazy to write them out. It's because Drake is too lazy to convey his vision, this villain arc. He's not moving it at all. We are just before the rising action on that one, you know, that like chart you get in 6th grade literature, you know, where it starts rising action, climax, falling action, end of the story, whatever. We're right before the rising action, and all he has to do is follow that little roller coaster chart, and he hasn't done it yet, and we're almost halfway through the album. Like, I don't see how him wanting to talk to other people's baby mamas have to do with the post-beef era that he's trying to like create for us here. Like, I get how in like kind of a delusional way of thinking, talking about everyone who bodied you is relevant and serves a purpose, but like this doesn't. It's filler. That's all it is. So we're gonna be moving on now to National Treasure. I need something decent after this terrible track. National Treasure, I am sad to say, was not the song I needed. He starts this by saying it's for the city, and that immediately, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I hear a song and it starts like that or similar to that, I immediately think it's a city anthem of some sort. You know, Dreams and Nightmare from fucking Meek Mill. You have fucking Alicia Keys and Jay-Z on New York State of Mind, right? Those are like city anthems. You go to New York or Philly, you go to any bar and you can get people singing those songs. I'm thinking National Treasure is gonna be similar to that on that level. It's not. He immediately starts talking about himself, and not in like the way that Meek Mill does it, where he's like, oh, this is my story, all this, da 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 da. He does it in a way about talking about himself like Drake does, and he like basically just says, out in the 6, I'm a national treasure. He's talking about himself and what he does for Toronto. Then, most shocking part about this whole album, I'm not even finna lie to you, is he talks about DeRozan on this song for way too long. The whole song is him talking about himself and DeRozan. That is all that you will get from this fucking song. And it's supposed to be a city song, a song for the city. Like, compare this to fucking Empire State of Mind. This song is like little dark, gritty production behind it, and he's just talking about himself and dissing other people. You look at Empire State of Mind, it's talking about the culture of the city, what makes the city so great. It's talking about the people within the city, and like it's got this uplifting beat to it, has great tone to it. It's like inspirational. This song sounds like a city anthem for Portland, not Toronto. I hope that joke lands. Crazy difference though. This song also has the Iceman was a nice man bar, and we're not even gonna talk about that, bro. Terrible way to end the first half of the album. So now let's take a break for a quick little intermission. We'll talk about it. Okay, this intermission is probably gonna be a little bit all over the place, and I apologize for that. I wrote this pretty quickly. I wasn't planning on having an intermission here, so if it's a little bit hard to keep track of, I apologize. I think it's pretty decent though. So far, I've noticed a lot of things being said on songs, right? Obviously, it's a fucking album, right? If this is Drake's attempt of getting back in love with music making, it makes me wonder why it's so bad. Like, don't get me wrong, there are parts of the albums I really like, such as the production on some songs, but nothing that Drake is adding to it feels worth it, you know? For example, the song Shebang got a good beat, but all Drake talks about on there is being a fake gangster. The Aubrey paradox, like I said before. It would be different if it was Chief Keef or King Von or someone who lives that life, or hell, even like I mentioned earlier, Kanye or Kendrick. They don't live that life, but they're affiliated with it. They know people from that life. They hang with them. But the man from Canada, I'm sorry, I can't suspend my disbelief that much, Drake. It's practically just wasting people's time with some songs. There's no payoff anywhere so far on this album. It is void of any real creativity on Drake's end especially. It kind of feels like the vision is supposed to portray that of a sad guy who all of his friends betrayed him, and all the people who he helped in their rise up are turning on him. But then you actually use your brain and ask yourself, why did they betray him? Oh, it's because he's just straight up saying, I'm manipulating people. I'm toxic. The only reason I'm paying your rent is because of our attachment. You're gonna do something for me later. And then you also bring in the stuff with the beef and all the stuff that was said on the beef, which he didn't even address on this album thus far. And it's feeling like a guy who is feeling complete sorrow for himself. This should not be feeling sorry for himself at all. He's made his bed. Now he doesn't want to fucking lie in it. And it's really disheartening to see. Because I kind of feel like my fucking 5-year-old nephew could write a more coherent story than this. It's not even a story. I keep saying story and, you know, like a concept he's trying to push. And a lot of people are going to get that mixed with me thinking this is supposed to be a concept album. I know it's not. But one of the first rules when you're pushing out an album like this, especially if it's you calling it a villain arc or anything like that, even if it's a cohesive album, you have to be pushing an idea. You have to be pushing a vision, something you want your audience to see. And it seems like the only vision Drake is pushing on this album is him being a fucking jackass and asking us to close our eyes and pretend like he's a good boy. No, even if you ignore the beef and every allegation that came from that, and you somehow delusionally like ward your way out of him with his toxic traits, saying like, oh, he didn't really mean that. It's actually meant as like a double entendre for this, but you have to ignore the first part of the double entendre or whatever you try and fucking weasel your way out of. We've seen him be a snake before, so he absolutely deserves this shit. We saw it with fucking KMT. He stole XXXTentacion's flow on that entire song. He fucking stole the entirety of Take Care from The Weeknd, basically. We have seen him be a jackass outside of the beef and outside of this fucking album. So why do you care about this guy? It's like a fucking how like women can't escape fucking like Stockholm syndrome shit. They like become in love with their abusers and shit. I don't know, I'm not a psychologist, but like they like fall in love with their like kidnappers and shit. That's what Drake is doing to y'all, and y'all don't even realize it. It seems like I am so hopeful for this last half of the album to prove this intermission wrong. I pray it happens. I pray we get fucking 2013, 2014, 2015 Drake back when he was doing good. But something deep down in me knows that if I know Drake how I think I know Drake, I will be immensely disappointed by this latter half of the album. And I, like I said, want that to be wrong. I'm hoping even. I would love for another great musician to make a great comeback. I don't know that he will though. Like I promised, will keep an open mind throughout the rest of this album. I will point out every good thing I see, but I will also point out every bad thing I see. Starting this second half of the album, it's Bees on the Table. The first minute of the song, he's talking about nothing new. Then you get like a really interesting bar about Drake being in a corner with his back against the wall, and I'm hoping this goes into some boxing analogies. That would kind of be cool use of imagery to show him, you know, fighting against the industry. But he seemingly either didn't think about this bar enough or something, because like he immediately switches into analogy with the sword in his back. He's lost me again. He says some about fighting the man, not suing a rapper. Y'all not listening. But suing, no matter who you're suing, as long as they have direct correlation to the rapper, you're being a pussy. No other way to make it out. And that's the end of the fucking song. It does nothing. Again, it's a 21 Savage feature song, right? We need that on every Drake album. So it's just gonna serve as a fun song. It's not gonna go back on, it's not gonna tell anything about the plot, right? So I didn't really expect much on this, but it is worth noting that it does really nothing. And then with that being said, we are skipping What Did I Miss? Just because, listen to it, right? It's been out for a year, maybe a year and a half now. Everyone who should care about this has listened to it, as well as it doesn't add anything if I go over it that I can think of right off the top of my head. So the only reason it's on this album in the first place is because of numbers, right? You put everyone thought Kendrick was gonna put Not Like Us on GNX. It's because the numbers with What Did I Miss / Not Like Us would then help the sales of GNX, right? It's a marketing strategy. You know, people want to listen to Not Like Us, they're gonna put on GNX, right? That's the idea behind it. That's the only reason What Did I Miss is on this album. Adds nothing to the narrative. So we're moving on to Plot Twist. And this song, I don't remember at all from my first listen to, so I'm excited to listen to it again, but feel like the fact that I can't really remember it is kind of a bad omen for it, but we'll see. We'll give it a listen. So the song starts out really decent with a bar about being a producer cleverly woven into the song, and some twist lines that I wasn't really impressed with, but they're good, right? It's a fun song so far, but it didn't do anything to really move the vision. And he just kind of talks about random stuff. As it's as mid as the album gets, basically. Probably rank it pretty high on the list though, because of it being mid. You know, everything else is pretty lower. I haven't gave my fucking thoughts on half of these songs. I'm just now realizing. We'll go fucking really quickly. What was the last one I said? I haven't said any since probably. Okay, we'll go over all of them at the end of the video. Fucking cut that shit out. Next song is Too Hard for the Radio. And this has great West Coast vibes all around in the production, but it isn't anything but just a subliminal like Kendrick, so it kind of cancels it out. Also, the term too hard for the radio seems to be hinting at the conspiracy narrative he's trying to push again. And he talks about the Epstein files, but I can't help but it feels like the, right message, wrong messenger, right? Drake is just a piece of shit. Even if we count out him being weirdly sexual towards minors and shit, he's just a jackass. So why is he the one trying to tell us about the other rich people doing bad stuff? You know what I mean? So it does nothing. This song doesn't push the vision at all. So let's move on to Make Them Remember, which I've heard only good things about. Granted, it was from Drake fans, so we'll see. This song doesn't have anything to really talk about until the 90-second mark, where he says something alluding to his toxic behavior. If y'all forgot that if I gave you a hand, you're under the thumb. We'll talk in great detail about the toxic line if he doesn't do anything to remedy it by the end of the album, like him healing in some way or finding salvation, something like that. But even if he does do something like that, I can't help but to feel it'll be too little too late. With that being said, the next part of the song he spends talking about chains and shit. I'm pretty sure they're alluding to the chains he took from Pharrell. I'm not positive on that though, but this line I do want to talk about. He says, "Iced out crosses on they neck, thinking Jesus saves." Well, even if he does N-word, either way, the blasphemy you talk let me know that your amazing grace gonna be delayed. This is super hypocritical of Drake, because when you take the beef into this, like I said before, you take the bad along with the good. And the bad is you making up allegations against Kendrick Lamar that were disproven pretty heavily, of him beating his wife, and that his family is split, and that one of Kendrick's sons is Dave Freeze. Those were some allegations Drake made that we have seen proof of it being only the opposite. Kendrick Lamar, Dave Freeze still own a company together. They've been seen multiple times out in public together. They've worked on multiple projects together. They high-fived or some shit like that in the Not Like Us music video. Furthermore, Kendrick family is not split. In fact, Kendrick probably, something could be happening behind the scenes that we don't know of. But because Whitney and the whole family appeared in the Not Like Us video, I think they're not separated, and I think he doesn't beat his wife. And I have further evidence for this idea based on the fact that you could see Whitney and his kids at the Pop Out, and you could see them at the Super Bowl for his halftime show. So, why are you being hypocritical talking about some blasphemy shit they're speaking on you when most of what they've said has been really, almost provably true, right? Large part of what they've said against Drake is provably true. Nothing he said about Kendrick is provably true, right? So what are we talking about? The blasphemy you talk, let me know. Get the fuck out of here, bro. This is such a dumb bar. And, I beg you to try and defend this bar to me. Give me your best genius copy and paste of what this bar actually means. Hit me with it. I would love to see it from you, Drake fans. Next song is Lil Birdie. This song starts bad. I'm 8 seconds into it, and I hate the voice already. There is nothing else. It's just talking about women. Again, boring. Move on. I'm skipping it. Don't worry, as it's just a waste of both of our times. If I went over it, it would be a nothing burger. It's a nothing burger of a song. That's our first 0 out of 10 on the list. You're welcome. Next song, Firm Friend. And it's just Drake complaining again. He makes some good points about people not knowing who their real ones are. There is also a bar where Drake is claiming this is the best he's ever been rapping wise, and it's just not. I mean, genuinely, he hasn't had a bar where I've stopped and been like, ooh, you know what I mean? Nothing's actually been good. It's been a sea of mid, with every now and then there'll be the tiniest little gem of a beat. And everything on this album that was worth it just gets immediately dragged down by him complaining on every song. Moving on with this song, there is just a straight up lie in this track where he's talking about people asking him what he's gonna do about losing the beef, and he replies with running it back, which, to me that reads as oh, I want a round 2 with Kendrick, right? He says it in a way of saying running it back, what else have I ever done other than that? Some shit like that, which is a rhetorical question, obviously. But he's just lying because he lost with Pusha T and he ran away from that beef. He didn't fucking walk away from that shit. He ran as far as he could away from that beef, bro. He's just lying, so I don't understand that at all. And to my knowledge, he's never tried to make a run it back with Pusha T. I'm sure Pusha T would be fucking foaming at the mouth for that shit. He wants another beef with Drake. I guarantee it. That motherfucker's evil. I promise you he is. Moving on to the last song, Make Them Know. And this is actually the song I've been looking forward to the most on this album. I'm not even lying to you, because I've heard a lot of good about this song from Drake fans. But I don't know if you noticed, the last half of this album, my reviews have been short because there's just been nothing to talk about. So at this point, before I've heard this song, I'm really hoping he doesn't do that, okay? Let's see. Oh my god, he talks about nothing new here. It's so fucking frustrating. I don't know why I actually expected something. I do know why. It's because everyone hypes this song up. He didn't do nothing but complain. Again, come on, bro. This is supposed to be your magnum opus. This is your ending to this vision you're pushing. This is where it all comes together. This should be at this point in the album. Everybody knows what the album is about, the motifs, the themes, and all you have is you complaining for however long the runtime is of this album. Fuck this album. I'm sorry, this album's so shit. I've been hiding it up until this point because I've been keeping that open mind, and I've been trying to present it in a way where I didn't come off this complaining, and I think I did a pretty good job up until this point. I probably let a few slip here and there. But this album is so ass. fuck this album. Okay, we're on to the last part of the video. Thoughts, right? First thing we're going over is the UMG lawsuit and the conspiracy angle on it. Okay, first, UMG lawsuit. I will tell you it's a bitch lawsuit, right? Especially the fact that he's trying to get the Not Like Us lyrics admissible as evidence in the court. I don't know if this has actually came to raps yet or not, but it is so dumb. Like, you pretty much will make gangster rap and drill rap and a lot of other types of rap just extinct off that. Also, a lot of rappers will have to censor themselves if it does rule in his favor, because that will set a precedent in courts that now rap lyrics are admissible as evidence. So, that's pussy shit. On to the conspiracy angle, though. This is an obvious cop-out for, like, taking responsibility of his actions, you know? The idea is that UMG started the rap beef to dethrone Drake because he was making too much money. But, like, it's just not, like, really, like, it's got no evidence behind it. It's got as much evidence as the same people who say that fucking George Bush drove the plane on 9/11. Like, you know, it doesn't have anything to back it up. You know, as Drake would say, let me see you prove it, right? And I'm sure that when Kendrick Lamar won the beef, they pushed his music more than anyone else's for a good reason, a reason Drake should be familiar with, because it's the only reason his music got pushed hard in the beginning, because it was going hard as fuck everywhere for the entire summer of 2024. It was Not Like Us. He got 5 Grammys. I will stand on what I'm about to say. If you genuinely think there's an industry-wide conspiracy, you're dumb. It's just not feasible. The only reason Drake lost is because he never fit in hip-hop in the first place. But he could reach an audience most of hip-hop couldn't, which was white people. It was the same reason why they pushed Vanilla Ice so much. So he was selling to a certain demographic. When his listeners started tanking, which they have been tanking in recent years, you can, you know, back it up with the numbers all you want. They have been tanking in recent years. Everyone's gonna listen to the Drake album the first week it comes out. Wait until about like 3 months after the project's done. We'll see the numbers then. Because it's tanking and because he's no longer providing hip hop with that thing that they wanted from him, which was, you know, listeners, he is now being pushed out by the other artists because they were working with the Snake when the Snake was making them money. Now the Snake's not making them money, kick him out the porch. Get out of here. It's money. It's a business. It's a business decision. Drake doesn't fit into the culture. Remember all those times I told you, remember this, that, this? Those are examples of Drake not understanding the culture. I've got 3 different examples I can point out that I talked about in this video. First, during the beef with Kendrick, the Control verse to Heart, as well as the Like That verse to Heart. As well as during the beef, he brought wives into all of his beef. Again, not understanding the culture. You don't bring somebody's wife into beef. It's just not how it works. Secondly, in Dust, he mentions not really selling any shirts or vinyls and the numbers are final. But this point is very harmful because Drake has a lot of people listening to him who also don't understand the culture. And because Drake is pushing the idea that the only way to measure art is by numbers, that is indirectly going to harm hip-hop as a whole, because now his fan base is only going to take numbers seriously just like he does. It's a disease that needs to be cut out. Third is the whole lawsuit in general. Nobody has ever really lost a rap beef that I know of and then sued. It is such a bitch thing to do. Like, just lick your wounds, move on. Come on, bro. Be a man about this shit. Don't be a whiny bitch. If you get your ass beat on the street, are you gonna call the cops on that guy? No. You're gonna get your fucking get back next time you see him. Why is Drake whining so much on this album? Every track he's complaining about this and that and the third, and it's to a point where it feels like a 12-year-old's diary instead of a cohesive project. It doesn't tell you where Drake is because, again, he's putting on a facade. He'll act like he's a toxic person who needs help on the first track. Then after that, he does nothing with it, hopes you'll forget about it. So when he starts saying stuff like, if I give you a hand, you under the thumb, we don't connect the dots that he's a fucking leech. The main thing that gets me mad about this album is the hypocrisy within it and the levels of it. Because this album multiple times, probably on half the record, says some shit along the lines of, if you weren't on my side during the beef, don't come back over now. You know, I know on Make Them Remember, he says some shit about an owl emoji, and then when the score is back to 10-0, don't be coming back around, some shit like that. He says something on Shebang too, I'll throw it on screen right now. But I shouldn't have to say this. If it's really fuck everybody, then why is Future here? He was the right-hand man to Metro Boomin. Now you're forgiving him somehow on this project? This shit's ass. Fuck this guy. Fuck all this pretending shit. I don't know what kind of delusional state you have to be to listen to this album as a cohesive project and not catch up on all of the hypocrisy, all of the toxicity, all of him just being a jackass that he does nothing to even build an arc with. He's just being a dickhead. It's like if I go and shoot a police officer and say, oh, it's a performance art piece. You don't get it. No, I just shot somebody. That's not how it works. You have to actually do something for it to be considered art. All this is slop. It's a waste of time to even listen to it as an album. If you like how some songs sound on it, I can't fault you for that. But to say this is a good album is complete and utter stupidity within you. I am sorry if I've been rude, if I've been very direct towards Drake fans in this. I apologize. Get better music taste, though. I don't know how else to put it. To summarize, the main Iceman problem is the hypocrisy within it, right? As well, the only thing new that he does on this album that he hasn't done before is whine like a little bitch, and it's annoying. It's basically an NBA Youngboy album at this point. Like, come on. Anyways, that's gonna conclude it. See y'all later.
Oh my god, this is my like 5th time doing this fucking post video thing. There's a lot to talk about today. Firstly, I apologize, this video was delayed. It was supposed to come out on the 10th. Basically, what I did was after the Clips video came out, I think that came out on like the 1st, somewhere around there, I took off until the 4th. The 4th, I had a lot of fun. I was partying with some friends. I got shit-faced, and I was like out of it for the next day, so I started working on it on like the 5th or the 6th, and it was going to be done by the 10th, because I already had like the script wrote, I had the voiceovers done. I just had to pretty much edit the video and get all my B-roll and shit. But a few things happened in that time, and I chose to delay it until the 15th. I think it might come out on the 14th though, so y'all might be getting a day early. I don't know, but that was there was just a lot I had to handle in those few days. I had to really like think about like life stuff and like forced me to reflect on some stuff. So I decided to push it back, get some stuff done. I'm glad I did, because now I'm in a much better headspace than I would have been, and I think this video is probably 10 times better than what it would have been if I was editing while going through that shit. So glad I did it, but I apologize that it was delayed. Secondly, the Clips video is popping off, which is so crazy to see. It's got like 15,000 views, which is just like insane to me that like that many people were interested in it. The Clips video was kind of a one-off. Like I say at the end, I'm pretty sure that like okay, this video I recorded the voiceovers. It took me about like 6 hours probably total to get everything perfect with my like voice and affecting my voice with like the way I mixed it and stuff. Total took me about like, so my voice recording it took about 7 hours compared, and then after that I edited the video, and that took me about we're on probably like the 13th hour now. So like 20 hours of just my voice editing and editing the video itself. I think I did the Clips video in 4, which to me is a really good indication of how strong the idea was behind it, that like I was allowed kind of like some leeway in not doing as well with the video, because like I had some stuff going on I was trying to get ready for, and like I was like, I can't, wait like a whole ass another week to drop Iceman, and it's been like 2 weeks since I dropped my last video. You know, I can't just leave it on that, like, you know, like 3-week span. So I was like, I gotta come up with something. This Clips video idea was something I had in the back of my head for a while now, so I threw it together, and I'm proud of what it is. It could have been better. I know it could have been better, but I'm proud of what it is, and I'm so grateful it's popping off. That is crazy to me. What else? Oh, so can't remember now. Darn. Clips. Oh, the comments on that Clips video is funny because they're so bipolar. There's some like hate comments, yeah, whatever, right? I know that comes with territory. But there's like comments, it's like the way they're like spaced out. There's a lot of comments praising the creativity and the stylization of the video. And then there's a lot of comments also saying it's like the worst video like they've ever seen. Like, worst edited video that I've ever seen. And there's a lot of people who are like, you know, like, this guy's takes are refreshing. And then there's a lot of people who are like, how dare you call Clips evil? Which, like, those guys, to me, it's like pretty obvious you didn't watch until the end of the video, because I make that whole comparison with the Smokestack Twins, and I like pretty much end the video with you knowing that I don't actually think Clips are evil. Like, I'm sure that some like retarded milk bag out there might not have caught on to that, but like, I think they just didn't watch the entire video, which is crazy to me because I don't think I'd ever leave a comment without watching the entire thing, but everyone's different. There was something else I had to talk about. I can't remember it now. I think the next video I'm gonna make is on like the lost art of the MC. I have the script ready. I'm not like feeling it too much though. It doesn't feel like it's gonna be a banger video because a lot of it's history. So I don't know, I might drop that idea. Let me know if you have any ideas. A lot of people were giving me ideas and stuff to talk about in the last video, and I appreciate that, I genuinely do. Because, like, you know, I'm not making these videos just for, well, I am kind of making them just for myself, but, like, you know, they don't, it can be about anything. I don't fucking care. Any artist. Someone was talking about, like, some Rock Marianko or some shit like that. I'd never heard of. Might look into him, see if it's worth making a video on. I don't know. What'd you think about the Kendrick and Drake beef not being really in this video? I had like a 20-minute section of this video about it, talking about it, but it just like, it felt like I was wasting people's time. I'm not gonna lie to you, because like, I think I say it in the video, but like, if you care about Iceman, you have to care about the beef, right? There's nobody living yet that will like Iceman without knowing about the beef already. You know what I mean? It's not like maybe in 20 years, our kids will find Iceman and be like, this is a decent album, and not know what the beef is. It's whatever. I'm not making it for them. I'm way off track. I apologize, but this video was a lot of fun to make. We're on like the 45th hour mark of it. Like, I think it was like 40-some thousand words. This is by far the longest it's taken me to make any video, and I've been enjoying it, especially the last couple days. It's been a lot of fun. I've really had to put like probably half the time on this video has came from the past like 3 days, which isn't very healthy, but you know, we live. I don't know, I'm kind of debating on like opening like a Discord, if like that would be something people would be interested in. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out right now. I've been wanting to workshop. I probably wouldn't come for a little bit though. I don't really have anything else to say. I mean, the Iceman album as it stands is like a 2 out of 10 in my mind. That's pretty high. I was originally like a 1 out of 10 kind of guy, but it did grow on me a little bit. There's definitely parts of the video where I'm just like, or parts of the album where I'm like, this is like decent, like, but it almost always like within the same song, those like good graces of like the little Caesars line about him like actually talking about something for once, just immediately get ripped away, because then he just starts complaining about like Rick Ross, you know, or some shit, and it's just, I don't like it. It's just, it takes away from it so fast. So like, I don't know. With that being said though, I think that's gonna have to end the video. Let me know any ideas you have in the fucking comments if you have any. I don't know. See ya.